There are many different names for shadow work, and you actually may be doing shadow work, but may call it by something else or may not even know what it's called. So in a nutshell, what shadow work is really confronting and healing the shadow aspect of us, the darker side of us that we may be repressing or that we may not even know that is there. Hey guys, welcome to my channel. My name is Rachel, and on this channel we talk about spirituality, law of attraction, self-development, and making every day the best it can be. So in today's video, I'm going to be talking about shadow work. What is it? Why would you want to do it? And how you can do it. We all have an ego. And what our ego likes to do is it likes to attach itself to an aspect of ourselves and label us as that concept. So for example, if you are someone who doesn't like working out, the ego will cling on to that idea and will try to make you identify yourself as someone who doesn't like working out. The issue with our ego is that it takes over us. It is the primary driver of our life in most cases. And the biggest issue about our ego is that it has blind spots. The ego does not consciously identify itself with the shadow self. We must look at ourselves from a higher perspective, something that is much larger than the ego. And that aspect of ourselves is our soul. And that is who we truly are at our core. So for example, if you feel anger, jealousy, sadness, or hurt by someone else's actions, the first step in shadow work, realize and accept that it's not the outside factors that are making you feel this way. The reason you are feeling the way you are feeling is because they triggered something that was already within you that you need to heal. The reason that anything triggers us is because we haven't healed that area. Now, these triggers can be something that you inherited, that you were taught growing up, or something that you've actually personally experienced, and that is a trauma that you carry. People are perfectly placed in our lives specifically to trigger us. Think about it like this. Everybody has different things that trigger them, right? So why is it that in your life and in my life, there seem to be patterns of things and ways that people just know exactly what it is that triggers you? That people know exactly what to say that will take you off in just the right way, just the way that you need to be ticked off. And that is because every situation in our life, every person in our life is specifically tailored and designed to help us realize what it is that we need to heal and work on. So really, when someone hurts us, that is a time when we really need to look within and ask ourselves, what is the true core reason behind why I am feeling so hurt by this? And the deeper you go into this, you will find yourself breaking apart layers of the ego, which is your shadow self. Now, it is so much easier that when someone does something to you, that you go and talk badly about them, that you blame every other person around you for the internal feelings that you are feeling. Even if a person didn't mean to treat you in such a way, you're internalizing it in that specific way because that is something about you. To blame the other person, to blame outside circumstances, so we don't need to go within, so we don't need to deal with our own internal issues and to recognize that we're actually not perfect. We do have work to do. As long as we're here on this earth, we will always have work to do. So why is it important to get to know your shadow self? Why can't you just always blame it on the people that are bothering you or that are hurting you? Why do you have to take responsibility? What's the point? It's just gonna make me feel bad about myself. But here's the thing. Once you understand where that pain is coming from, why they are hurting you in that specific way, where is the root of it? Once you understand that, then you can heal it and it can dissipate. It will never enter your life again. You will never feel that same pain from someone because you've healed that area from your past or from your mind, from your ego self. You've disidentified from it. Is that a word? Disidentified. You've let go of it. It's no longer keeping you in pain. In other words, when you bring awareness to your negative emotions, those negative emotions can be transmuted into better emotions. The key about your shadow is that it is in the dark. So when we shed light on it, when we pay attention to what's going on, it then gets transmuted into light. But if we can't even recognize that it's there, it will always stay in the dark, and that is an aspect of ourselves that we will never heal, that we will always feel that pain again and again. And guess what? That pain is going to get worse and worse every time someone triggers you with it. Unless you get to the root of why it's there, how it started, and how you can heal it, it's always going to come back to you. A lot of the times we get upset and we get angry when somebody else decides to point something out to us that we already know is true. That really triggers something in our ego. But if we go back and we understand that, okay, the reason I'm angry right now is not because this person pointed it out to me. I'm more upset with myself that I didn't do that change because I know I need to. So the way the ego does it is it blames someone else so we don't need to take responsibility. But once we realize, then we can heal our relationship with the person and most importantly with ourselves. So now let's talk about how do you do the shadow work. Now, before we even get into how you do it, the first thing that you need to do is fully love and accept yourself fully as you are right now, including your shadow side. You have to understand that everybody has a shadow, that everybody has those negative aspects of them that they need to heal. Instead of being so hard on yourself for having all of these emotions, be lighthearted about it, laugh at yourself, laugh at your thoughts, and recognize that your ego is not attached to who you are at a core soul level. People go to school, to work, to parties, to drugs, anything that will take them away and keep them in motion to run away from our true work, the work that we need to do on ourselves. Something that is really valuable when coming to uncover your shadow self is think about something that really bothers you. Something that is a pattern in your life, something that people do or circumstances that just keep happening to you. It's just your bad luck, a pattern. Maybe it's the way certain people treat you in relationships. Maybe it's certain family members that say specific things that make you feel a specific way, that brings out anger in you, that brings out sadness. Think about those things and start to write them down. Start to acknowledge what those things are. I want you to get into a state where you can be completely present. Now, being completely present is another way of saying meditation. People think meditation is like only for like yogis and spiritual people, but really meditation is just about being in the present moment. It's about shouting out the world that we are constantly in motion with, quieting the thoughts and tuning into your intuition, to your higher self. When you're in this state, you can take an honest and unbiased look at your behaviors and your actions. You can observe your dark thoughts and your emotions without having an emotional attachment. When your ego is involved, it doesn't want to see things as it truly is. So when we quiet the mind, when we do meditation, which is really quieting the ego mind, we are opening ourselves up to receiving answers on how we can heal those areas. This truly requires courage. This is not something that is easy to do. Now, there was actually a study that shows by a psychologist in Harvard named Sarah Laza that someone who does meditation for 8 weeks shows a significant amount of improvements in the brain. Not only does it increase our memory, not only does it make us calmer throughout the entire day, but it actually reduces the size of our amygdala, which is our fear. Now imagine if schools taught us the power of this. The power of looking within for all of our answers rather than relying on outside sources and factors. How much more we can get answered, how much calmer we can be in the now, but also in the long term. What we do as society is we go to short-term fulfillment. We want that instant thing that's gonna boost us and help us out, but what we don't understand is that if we take the time to really lower our ego voice and listen to the voice of our soul, is that we're truly gonna get every single answer that we could ever ask for. So if you wanna know how to heal a certain aspect of yourself. You need to shut off that ego mind. You need to get into a meditative state so that you can truly be one-on-one with you. Nobody else is going to be able to give you the advice that you need because nobody is you. You are the one that chooses your direction in life. Do you want to get to the end of your life and realize that every decision you ever made was based on someone else telling you what their opinion is, based on their experiences, based on their knowledge and their own beliefs? Or do you want to make your own belief, create your own life by your own terms? So just a quick recap on how to heal. Number one is to be aware that you have a shadow self. If you are alive on the planet right now, then you have a shadow. From now on, when you get triggered with an emotion, sit with that emotion. Sit with that uncomfortable feeling. Do you maybe subconsciously feel a certain way about certain people? Recognize it within yourself first, because if you don't deal with it, it's going to come out in a much harsher way and it's not going to be pretty. Recognize what it is you get reactive about and where is it coming from. Maybe you got called out for something you did. Maybe you don't consciously think that you don't like a specific group of people, but maybe you can root it back and say, maybe I do have a certain stereotype in my head because of so-and-so that happened. But that's the thing, you get to see it from a higher perspective and say, okay, that's valid, this happened to me and that's why I feel this way. Once you recognize it, that is the first step, and it's a huge step. Number two is to embrace the dark side, to accept that it's there, and to understand that we do need the dark to get the light. This is how we can be reborn again. Think of it as an opportunity and be lighthearted about it, because beating yourself down is just doing the opposite of what we're trying to achieve here. We're trying to recognize these things so we can work through them and heal them. Just by doing that process alone is healing and is doing the right thing. And the third step is to integrate that darkness into light, is the actual action of it, is to transform that negativity by doing an action to reveal light from it. Shadow work is so important. Can you imagine if every single person would look within and see if there were subconscious things that they were not dealing with? They wouldn't take it out through crime. They wouldn't take it out through these horrible acts as we've seen with George Floyd, because the people that are committing those crimes would take the time to self-assess and say, maybe I don't like this group of people because of something I've been taught, something I've experienced, a part of me that I want to seem like I'm better than someone. No, we have to think about the cognitive dissonance that you have to commit such a crime. Right? How badly can you be lying to yourself, so much so to the point where you actually think that you're doing the right thing? Imagine if he did that shadow work. So don't neglect the power of you doing shadow work, because you actually can change the world on a global scale, and I'll tell you exactly how. We are so powerful with our thoughts, words, and actions, so much more than we could ever think. If we do the inner work, we can change those aspects of ourselves. Our families and our close circle of friends can see those changes within us, even if you don't talk about it. Even if you just simply are being that product of working on your goals and working on getting to the root of why you feel certain ways so that you can get into a better alignment. You will do kind things for others, and that is a butterfly effect. When you start to work on yourself, your family, your friends will all see it from you, and they will pick it up. Then it will eventually lead to your town. It will eventually lead to your city. Eventually it can lead to your country, and then from the country, you can change the whole world. Don't doubt the power that you have with every little action that you do. There is no energy that is wasted. All the internal work that you do does not go to waste. It impacts people, and it impacts your life. We can see it so clearly now that what happens in one side of the world affects the entire world. It affects the other side of the world. And we're seeing it so clearly now with COVID and with social media in general, how quickly information can spread, how quickly by saying one thing, by doing one thing, how many lives you can affect, even if it's just your close friends, even if it's just your family, because that spreads. You don't need to be doing something on such a global level to make an impact. You already are. Every voice counts, every action counts, and everything leaves an impact. So how are you going to leave yours? There is no change on the outside without first changing on the inside. We can now see everywhere that humanity's shadow is out. It is visible to the public because we are waking up. We can now see all the work we need to do. And it starts on an individual level. If everyone did this internal work, we wouldn't see this negativity. The world would be a better place and people would take responsibility. Now, this shadow work is a lifelong journey. It is something that the more you do, the more you will realize, the more that will come up for you. But that is a good sign. That means that you are making progress. That means the things that ticked you off before no longer do, but now you are stepping up to your next level. And that is the point of all of this, is just to step up to our next level, to get better, to no longer be fazed by the old things that used to affect us and stop us from reaching our fullest potential. We want to keep uncovering those layers, keep seeing what it is about ourselves that we need to look within and face. The rewards are so worth the discomfort. Now have consciousness and awareness on the actions that you are doing. You're not just mindlessly speaking from a reactive place, you're understanding where it's coming from. So don't doubt your powerful abilities to be able to get to the root of what is triggering you so you can heal that, so you can help in healing yourself and the world. So thank you guys so much for watching. That is all from me, guys. If you got any value out of this video, please leave it a like down below. Also, subscribe below if you want to see new videos every Monday and Thursday, or you can watch some of my old videos that I will leave up here. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye!